You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
All right. I want to kick things off by talking about AI. That's where I want to begin.
That's not I was not expecting that. Please elaborate. Go on. Did you know that they were spontaneously talking about goblins and gremlins and they had to put a patch to tell the AI to stop talking about gremlins and goblins?
I didn't hear about this. Like they were on they couldn't stop the goblin and gremlin talk. Okay.
Yeah, they just you know how AI essentially, well, they have hallucinations, but also the whole point of AI is that they wanted to be able to think on its own. I think, like our tech overlords wants it to develop thought. And I guess just spontaneously the AI chatbots started talking about goblins and gremlins. And they don't know who introduced it. So I don't know enough about AI to know how the chatbots just spontaneously started doing that, but apparently they and it to the point where it was a bit of a problem. The programmers were like, "We can't do this. We got to shut this down."
To me, this is exactly what AI is for.
Right. Let them talk about goblins. Why not?
That's a great use of AI.
So this is my second guess, Mike.
Okay.
Let's see. This is the other AI headline I saw. Val Kilmer made a whole movie. Well, he passed away, but before he passed away, I forget the name of the project, but he was very emotionally tied to this project, wanted to make it like no one's business, knew that he was dying, I think, and signed over his likeness. So this is the first AI where, as far as I know, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, Val Kilmer didn't do any filming. That's 100% an AI Val Kilmer in that movie.
As far as I understand, it's 100% yes. I did see this, and I did look into this one a bit because I was curious how kind of far the AI goes, because he signed over his likeness because he was very passionate about this particular project. As far as I understand, it's 100% AI generated for Val Kilmer, because he died in 2025. And he was not in condition to film and to do things. So
I haven't seen the trailer, Mike, but he looks young. I would say in his 30s, not Val Kilmer at the end of his life.
Yeah, he definitely looks younger and a little bit more of kind of definitely
healthy?
Older. Yeah, healthy. Definitely older than the 90s Val Kilmer, but not when. And I do think, Val Kilmer, because of the disease he had, everything I think was causing him a lot of problems, and he was really in rough shape near the end. Now, he had a kind of guest, his last role was sort of a guest parting Top Gun Maverick, but that came out in 2022, and so it had been filmed
cancer?
In he had it was his his throat, right? I can't remember if it was cancer in the throat, or it was but he died in 2025, and he was only, I don't know, early 60s, throat cancer, I think, but I don't know off the top of my head what.
I just Googled it.
Okay.
It does look like it was throat cancer. He underwent chemotherapy and 2 tracheotomies. Right. And then in 2020 was reported as cancer-free, but continued to struggle with medical treatments because he needed a feeding tube.
Yeah, and and that's kind of what ended up, I think, causing him a lot of issues for a long time.
Respiratory failure in the end.
And Taylor, your second guess is right on the money.
Okay.
Talk about, which was this news story, because
AI movie.
Yes, because AI has become a what would you call that, Taylor? Like a bad word, like a swear word, almost.
Yeah, a dirty word.
A dirty word in a lot of circles. And this, to me, is a really good example of, I'm sorry, what is everyone upset about? So you have an artist right? So Val Kilmer, a person, absolutely, artist though, creator, um, director, writer, actor, who did have a career, who was so passionate about a project, willingly, not under duress, not his family doing it, signed off his likeness himself, knowing that this film would be created. Because I did a deep dive on like what the details were,
Right.
knowing exactly what would happen, signing off on it, wanting to do it. Why would anybody be upset about this? This is an actor, a creator, using a tool that exists to create a movie. Now, unfortunately, he passed away. From what I read, and this is unconfirmed, this is what someone said who was close to him. The unconfirmed rumor is, had he not died when he did, he still would have been involved in this movie, still would have AI generated himself, because he can't physically do the things that is required for this movie.
I don't think he can. I don't think near the end of his life he was able to, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize if I'm getting these facts wrong, I don't think he was able to speak really
he wasn't.
near the end of his
He
life.
really wasn't. And I don't know if you watched the Val Kilmer documentary.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so he was heavily involved in that, and his son was heavily involved in that, in finishing that documentary because of how sick he was. Val Kilmer, I don't know why, but Val Kilmer just happened to record most of his life. Like, that's where that documentary came from. He had so much footage because he just never put a camera down. He's just like,
just one of those guys.
Well, yeah, he was just like, I'm going to record my life. And
he was vlogging before vlogging was a thing, I guess.
That's right. And this is not an example of resurrecting somebody through AI with only their family's permission or
for money.
Agents for money. Because again, and I don't want to like assume every family does this, but some would definitely
cash cow for sure.
Cash cow for it. He did it. He made this choice. He made this decision. I'm like, what could you possibly be upset about? This is just an actor using a tool that's at his disposal to put a project out that he's so passionate about that he does this on basically his deathbed. Taylor, I don't know about you, like, I kind of want to see this for those reasons. Like,
What's it called?
I'm very curious. This movie is,
because I couldn't find it on his Wikipedia page just now. It's not out yet, right?
No, it's not. But a trailer was released. As Deep as the Grave,
right?
Is what
I think he plays a priest,
he was so, like we said, passionate about it. But he was behind this project. Like, he was a producer on it. He was heavily involved. Right?
I'm going to play maybe not so much the devil's advocate, but I'm going to present you, Mike, with what I can assume some people are angry about. Okay. I agree. If someone was like, I want to use the available technology to make the movie that I'm most passionate about. This isn't about the money. This project is my dream project. And the technology has gotten so far advanced that we can do it. And I, have my full consent, whatever. Okay. So that's like one thing, right? I agree with you. He ultimately could have done whatever he wanted. And it sounds like all of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and it's relatively kosher. Fair enough. Right. I think maybe where people are getting their backs up is that it opens the door to sort of a slippery slope. Like, before AI was widespread, there was hologram art. They were like, oh, Jimi Hendrix has been raised from the dead to play this concert, and it's like the hologram.
Prince, I think.
Prince,
right?
and I'm sure they wanted to do it with Michael Jackson. And so I think I can see people being like, well, this is a slippery slope. It sets a precedent that now we're just going to continue to quote unquote resurrect actors from the dead, and art is essentially dead.
Which I think
that's where people are getting mad.
An understandable thought, and I think to give a good example, I hate what they did in Star Wars, where in one particular scene, in one particular moment of a movie, they brought like a de-aged AGI CGI character back. Once was General Tarkin and once was Princess Leia in one of the movies. That those actors are not only long dead, one of them didn't know what AI was. Like, wouldn't have.
Yeah, weird.
So to me, that's not okay. I think what is okay, and I think the way to defeat that argument is the precedent should be while you're still alive, you get to make that choice.
Yeah.
Right now, you as a person should be able to make that choice. Yes, I want my likeness to be used in AI. No, I do not. And if you say no now, no amount of time can pass and your family can override that.
I
That's
guess
how it should be.
the fear is that those legal safeguards aren't in place right now, because it's like
True.
the wild. It's the Wild West. Anyone
I
can
think
go make.
Part of the reason why it's the Wild West is because everyone just gets so upset when we talk about AI. Almost, I don't know what you hear, Taylor, but most of the conversations I hear about AI are basically like people putting their hands up, crossing in front of their chest, like no to AI. So basically, like, to me, that's as silly as back when people were all listening to the radio saying no to TV. Like, that's basically the same thing. A new piece of technology that we don't understand is coming around. Some people are becoming very good users of it. Some people are mastering it. And the people who refuse to learn anything about it are dictating the conversation. I think that's why we don't have legal precedents.
I'll admit,
we're not having the conversations. We're not talking about it. We're not learning about it.
I'm an AI hater. And that's because
because
every time I've gone to use AI, it's given me wrong information.
So like and someone like me would say to you, Taylor, you might be using it wrong. Like that, it's a user input thing then. Like if it's giving you incorrect information, you're not giving it the prompts it needs to give you the correct information. Now, I don't use AI that much, but I did in my past job because they were a marketing firm and they had this AI tool that was actually very helpful. It was kind of like a Google Drive, but on steroids, where it would like help you find and get information in the store.
This is my favorite antidote for our story about how I think AI is not like the wonder tool people think it is. Because Mike, you're like, oh, your prompt was wrong. I literally went to a AI platform and
ChatGPT?
No.
I don't know. Okay. Most of these stories come from
it was Google Gemini.
Oh, okay.
And I literally took a picture of the thing of flatware, of like silverware. And I took a picture and I said, what? This is, Oneida flatware. What is the name of this flatware? I don't know if I use the exact word name, but like essentially like what is the model of this flatware? Because I need to replace some silverware. Mike, that prompt is very straightforward. It literally had an image.
Agreed.
And it was wrong. And was consistently wrong.
And it clearly couldn't pull the information from it or whatever. And again, to me, that's not where AI has its value. Like, I'll give you an example. I did writing recently for this grant that I was doing. Now, this is not connected to any of my jobs. This is like an independent thing I was doing on my own. And I was really struggling with, well, there's two things I struggle with in long form writing. One is grammar and two is spelling. So I basically took my entire grant and plunked it into a not free AI platform, a paying, little bit smarter AI platform. And I said, here's the problems I'm having. Can you help me with this? Can you restructure with it? And then my prompt was, without changing my words and my writing structure, can you correct
make
spelling,
it grammatically
correct, punch up the language, do all these things. And then it spit it back to me and I submitted the grant and I got the grant. And to me, it saved me hours.
Yeah, but you're using it just as a sophisticated word processing program.
That's right. And to me, AI does that very well. So maybe AI does some things well and some things not well. And I agree that like we shouldn't just go into AI and be like, spit out a movie script, because it's not going to be good. But I do agree with, you can use AI like a tool where you can use it in certain areas to support what the work you're already doing. You still have to do the work. I spent hours on that grant. I also cut my time down by using AI, where years ago that same process would have taken me,
or you would have had to ask a friend to read it for you,
and trust that they, understand sentence structure. Because that's the thing about AI. You can give it the prompt of, learn my writing style and now answer this question with the info you have for this grant and spit out an answer, and then I can compare it to my own and see which one's better. To me, that's how you use AI properly. And I think the point that I'm saying is Val Kilmer, to me, is using
Consented,
AI
and he consented to it
properly as a tool to support, let's face it, an artist who cannot do this on his own. First of all, he's dead. He unfortunately passed away way too young. He wanted to do this project. He knew, even alive, I cannot complete this project without this tool. He used that tool. So to me, my problem with AI is the blanket statement. It's bad. Again, that's like saying, people said the same thing about television. People said the same thing about streaming. And here we are streaming up a storm, and people still are saying it's bad, and everyone is still doing it. And most of the people who in like the industry of, say, the arts, who point to AI and say like, oh, you can't like use AI to generate images for promotion because that's replacing artists. I make the argument back to them, but you've been using Canva for years, which also takes jobs away from artists, and that doesn't seem to bother you. So to me, there's this it's the AI word. The minute you say AI, if you said editing tool, editing software, like you just mentioned, Taylor, I don't know what words you choose.
I said a sophisticated word processor.
That's right. So sophisticated word processor. People don't think anything about that. So again, I think the buzzword, and that's how these articles got written about this movie, that it's AI generated. If we came up with a different word, then maybe people wouldn't worry.
Do you think I don't want to spend the whole episode talking about AI, but one question I have for you: what do you think your opinion? Not having seen the movie, it's an early promotion. My understanding, Mike, is that it's only Val Kilmer who's AI generated.
That's my
Would you feel the same way if the whole movie was AI generated? Like everything you're watching on screen is AI generated. Every actor, and it's like not real actors. Because that's the other controversy right now, is that talent agencies have like put together like quote unquote like AI actors that got a lot of blowback a couple months ago. I think that was more like a publicity stunt.
It was more of a publicity stunt. But yes, I do get what you mean, though.
That question of, would your opinion maybe shift a little bit if, the whole movie's AI generated?
I would say it wouldn't necessarily shift. I would want more information about like why is it? Like, I think the rationale of why is what I'm looking for. Right. I think context matters. Val Kilmer having himself be AI generated makes a lot of sense to me. Why you would need to AI generate the rest of the movie, that doesn't make as much sense to me. But again, there might have been a rational reason. I don't know what that is. So yes, I think my opinion could change, but I don't think it would change instantaneously, is I think the point that I'm making, where for some people, if you just say the word AI, they flinch. And I think that, to me, that's what's bad. You can't even have a conversation about it and admit that there are aspects of it that work really well. And in this particular movie, if nothing else is AI generated, the script was written by a human, the other actors are acting opposite to basically a CGI person, which Marvel does all the time, and this movie comes out, would you really say, well, I'm never ever going to go support this movie because a adult artist consented on their own, in the right mindset, to put their own image somewhere? Like, that's my problem with the rhetoric around the movie, is this idea of there's no way I'm going to change my mind. I would change my mind on it if things started to add up and there's more AI and there's weird reasons and you're just cutting artists out for no reason. This is not doing that. This is using AI in a very smart, interesting way. And again, what's the difference between AIing him and CGIing a massive red dog for Clifford? What's the difference? Well, it was a CGI dog, and it didn't talk.
Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
No.
Mike, speaking of other controversial headlines.
Okay.
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni settle It Ends With Us lawsuit before trial.
Yeah.
I know this was, you've been waiting a year and a half.
I sure have. With bated breath.
Okay. After a year and a half of legal battles, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have resolved their case weeks before they were scheduled to go to trial in New York City. They agreed to resolve their legal differences Blah 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 blah. But I want to know. So that's I keep seeing that headline that they've settled, but what did they settle to?
Yeah, like it's settling, some sort of exchange of finances. They were both kind of countersuing each other, and
That's
to
what
me,
I want to know. Did they just
settling,
throw it out?
yeah, like on a legal standpoint, settling means forget about it, and there's some sort of money exchanging. On a moral standpoint and reality, settling usually means someone is admitting fault somewhere, but doesn't want it to go to trial to lose more, so they come to like an agreement of a number to like shut everyone up and just move on. Again, I think when we've talked about this in our a year and a half ago when we were doing the kind of watch of this proceedings, I think I said very clearly I thought both parties probably did a lot of things wrong and both had fault here. And this to me kind of proves it. Like it means that both, like if one of them felt they were really right and they had a lot of evidence and they were going to be able to do something with it, I think you would go to trial, especially these two particular personalities, which seem a little, full of themselves, and both of them are a little up there when it comes to who they are and their persona, and their whatever you want to call it. But I think to me this screams we both have things we did wrong. There's evidence to support both our cases. It would be easier to settle and go away than move forward.
Okay, so I just did a little bit of Googling, but this is an AI summary, Mike, so take it as it will, as we know. Okay, the key details of the settlement: zero money exchanged.
Okay.
Which is, we were talking about like, anyways, so zero money exchanged. Dismissal of claims. The settlement followed a ruling where a judge had previously dismissed key parts of the case. Joint statement. So I guess they put out a joint statement. And the end of the dispute. The deal prevented a high-profile trial that was set to begin 2 weeks later, allowing both sides to move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This screams
nuts.
Yeah, this screams to me. We both clearly did things wrong. We don't have enough individually to stand,
and we don't want it to drag it through the courts. A la Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Which I think, that maybe is what other celebrities are looking for. And be like, that became a circus.
Yeah,
like, that became reality television in the ugliest ways possible. It had some great memes, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good meme and I enjoy a good laugh. But I think...
But clearly someone on their team told each of them.
For sure.
Even if you win, having this in court... I mean, I shouldn't say clearly, because this is all pure, I should say, allegedly, speculation, whatever. But I agree with you, Mike. They're 2 weeks from the court date. Someone told them, hey, even if you win this... It's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good for anybody.
No.
Let's just move on and both of you never have to work with each other again.
Yeah.
If you really hate each other.
But everyone do your own sleuthing, because like I said, that was an AI generated summary. But it looks like the BBC did report that it was just no money was exchanged. That's wild, Mike.
I think that's absolutely wild, and that kind of proves my theory. But I agree.
They're both bad actors.
People have to do
actors in the sense that they allegedly did not bad actors.
They both have done
actresses. Wrong. Yes, that's what I mean.
Both have done wrong here. But I agree with you, Taylor. I do think, to close our conversation on this and AI, I definitely don't think AI should be used like Google. I agree with that. I think it can get too many facts wrong. I
know there's a way to turn it off in my internet browser, but I haven't figured out how.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can do that. You can turn it off so it just gives
summary.
You
the regular how Google used to work.
That's right. You can just turn AI mode off. You can do that. Because I've never used Google's AI. I've never used it. So I don't. Yeah, I try not to use AI like a search tool. But there you go. That ends, for at least our show, several episodes we dedicated to this story. So that ends with a whimper, as we expected.
Wow.
So we got 2 movies to review this week.
Yes.
Speaking about drama, I'm reviewing The Drama, and you're reviewing Roommates. Again,
Also, a lot of drama.
thematically, a lot of drama between people, which will make this kind of an interesting dual episode again. Um, both movies, I would say, have received some interesting thoughts online, not necessarily some positive, some negative buzz, but there's definitely, I've heard of both movies. There's been a lot of talk about it. The Roommates comes from, I think, the big. Is it still part of the big Adam Sandler deal? Is that where
It
this
was
film
put
comes
out
from?
by his
Yeah,
production company. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I have no idea what the terms of that deal was, but
He has
Happy.
something like 100 movies or something he's making for them. It's something ridiculous. I mean, it's not 100, but it's a lot.
You know what though, Mike? If they, and I'm sure they offered him like obscene amount of money. If
Oh
they
yeah.
were like, we're gonna give you an obscene amount of money, we're gonna give you like artistic license. You
Mm-hmm.
can put all of your family and friends in the movies. Why not?
Well,
Like,
of course. That's the thing. Everybody has like standards until a big pile of money gets given to them. Because I would say yes in a heartbeat. Of course. Yeah.
and I don't think all the movies are bad.
That's the thing. I think they're actually some of them are not great, but there have been movies that have come out of this deal that people have liked.
Yeah.
So it's not thing. So yeah, do you want to start with Roommates?
Sure. So for those who don't know, it was in the top 10 about 2 weeks ago. I don't know when this episode is going to air, but essentially when I watched this movie, it was in the top 10. It was released April 17th. So it's a little bit, I mean, in terms of streaming, I guess you could say it's old now, but it hasn't been out very long. Um, and like we mentioned, it is from Happy Madison Productions. So that's Adam Sandler's company, his production company. And it does star his daughter, Sadie Sandler. And I will say this is probably the second or third movie that I've seen the Sandler girls in. He actually has two daughters that act. To me, they look very similar. Uh, so I wasn't sure which Sandler daughter I was watching, but the 2 to 3 movies I've seen the Sandler girls in, they're good. They're, they're are they maybe as funny as their dad? Probably not, but in terms of nepo babies, like they're doing pretty well for themselves. They can hold their own on screen. Um this movie was not directed or written by Adam Sandler. It was directed by Chandler Levac and written by Jimmy Fowley and Ciara O'Sullivan. So, I with production companies, they don't have to write or direct. Like, I don't know how much, even though Adam Sandler is producing movies for Netflix, I don't know how much direct artistic involvement he has, Mike. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't know. Um,
I'm sure he has some script oversight or production oversight. Like I'm sure he has some, but to what degree would be the
yeah.
question. Yeah.
And he was not in this movie. He makes cameos in a lot of the Netflix movies or like stars in them. The other movie I watched, I think it was last year, the You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, I think it was called, also had the Sandler girls in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He did play the father in that movie, but he does
Right.
not play the father in this movie. It's Nick Kroll who plays the
Oh.
dad in this movie, and he was quite. Normally, I find Nick Kroll a little bit like too weird, which is saying something
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
like zany. He plays it relatively straight. He does have some like crazy lines, but he doesn't act like too bizarro. So
Right.
Sadie Sandler plays a college freshman, and I don't want to call her a loser, but like she's gone through all of her schooling without making a best friend. She's kind of like the hanger on in the group. And so
Right.
she's like, I'm going to start college and I'm going to get like my best friend, and like it's going to be a real friend and it's going to be great. And then Chloe East, who I'm not familiar with, it looks like she was on 2 episodes of True Blood.
Oh.
uh, and she plays Celeste, she's more confident, she's a little bit older, and she becomes the roommate. And let's just say things don't go well. Most people, remember having their freshman roommate. Things don't
Right.
always go as smoothly as they as you plan. And it's really it's being described as a black comedy. I guess it is a black comedy because like dark things do happen. I kind of watched it just as like a straight, to me this feels like a 90s Adam Sandler movie. And I
Right.
wouldn't call Adam Sandler movies dark
No,
comedies
not
or
at
black
all.
comedies. But anyways, it's being Wikipedia's calling it a black comedy. Um, what else can I say about this movie? So Nick Kroll plays the dad, Natasha Lyonne plays the mom, but it's really about Devin and Celeste's dynamic. Interestingly, this movie is told, the framing device is that the like dean of students is telling this story as a cautionary tale to two other students that are complaining about their roommates. Like they're coming to her being like, we want to be moved, we want different rooms, like I hate her, she sucks. And then the dean of students is like, let me tell you about how things can get so much worse.
That's
And
weird.
then the movie is essentially the dean of students telling this story. So I think that is that's why the movie is a little bit outrageous. You can get away with it being outrageous because it's a
Yeah.
retelling. I'm trying to find the name of, very quickly, the dean of students. Because she was on SNL and she was in that Bat Mitzvah movie I watched, and I feel
Okay.
like Sarah Sherman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And she played the rabbi in the movie I watched last year, and she's the dean in this movie. And I have not, she's known for like kind of gross out horror comedy.
Yeah.
That was her shtick before SNL. The only body of work I've seen her in are in these two Adam Sandler movies, and quite good, quite funny. She's got a good presence. So it's nice to see Adam Sandler kind of like passing the torch and developing a new, again, even though he isn't directly involved in this movie, you can see some of those hallmarks
Yeah.
of an Adam Sandler produced movie. I found this movie quite funny. I think it is rated R because there is some like pretty raunchy or like dark humor. Nothing that was like too out there for me. Like I said, it really just feels like if you watched an Adam Sandler movie in the 90s, nothing in this movie would shock you. But it's almost like an Adam Sandler movie from the perspective of girls, because Adam Sandler movies are they were from the perspective of Adam Sandler's character, who is a guy. And so I would describe this as like, if Billy Madison was a girl instead of a boy, or like that's kind of how I would describe it. Like you can kind of assume Sadie's character is kind of taking on the mantle of her dad in this movie. So I don't know, like, was this like the best comedy I've ever seen? No. Did I think that it was fine? Like, I think it was serviceable. It was like an enjoyable, what was it, hour and a half. It was 107 minutes. And I enjoyed it just fine. And I will continue to watch Happy Madison production movies. And I will probably continue to watch the Sandler Girls and things. So if you're looking for kind of like a quote unquote like easy comedy, and maybe like a comedy that's like reminiscent of the comedies that you and I grew up with, Mike, in like the 90s and 2000s, I think that this will scratch your itch. Again, I wouldn't say it's like an exemplar, like a perfect example of the genre, but in 2026, it's early in the year, I think it's worth checking out. So for me, it's a stream it. I do want to caution though, I said there isn't anything too outrageous. There is some like adult humor, I guess you could say. So don't watch this with like your 14 or 15-year-olds maybe, but just know what you're getting into with an Adam Sandler produced movie.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. My movie, The Drama, also is very 100% a dark comedy.
See, that's I don't.
This is very much a dark.
I don't know how. I haven't watched The Drama yet, but knowing what I know about it and having read the synopsis and seeing the promotion for it, I don't know how you could say Roommates and The Drama are both black comedies.
Yeah, that's the thing. They wouldn't. That's not how I would describe them, because everything I've heard about Roommates and everything you've described to me is just, yeah, like a kind of a coming of
Goofy.
age, goofy comedy that you'd expect. Whereas the drama leans into kind of the dark side of humor quite a bit more.
It would be like saying Wet Hot American Summer is a black comedy.
Right. Which, again,
I wouldn't.
some people would, and I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
just a
don't really
comedy.
know. It's just a comedy. So yeah,
Anyways,
the drama, which also oddly enough is about an hour and a half as well. I think it's like an hour 40 or something. So another kind of tight, relatively short movie. And its entire premise is, so Zendaya and Robert Pattinson play a couple that's been together a very long time, and they're about to get married. They're kind of building up the last couple days till their wedding. They go out with their two kind of close friends to some sort of, this scene I didn't really quite understand. There had come some kind of a wine tasting for the wedding and food tasting for the wedding. Like they're at a private kind of place where they're tasting wine and food to select for the wedding, I
I
guess.
think really expensive weddings, you can do that.
Yeah, so they're doing that, but they're overstaying their welcome and they're drinking too much. And everyone is getting kind of annoyed that they're doing this. But they stay and the four of them chat and they play basically this game of what's the worst thing you've ever done.
Because that can't go wrong at all.
Yeah, there's obviously that's a great idea. So what ends up happening is one of the couple gives a confession of something that is quite a bit more serious than what the other three in the room say. The other three in the room say things that you're kind of like, yeah, I could see that. I could see people doing that. That kind of thing happens. And then the thing they chose for this one character to say, it makes sense that it begins the central conflict of the movie, is what made you do that, and can I get past it in
Right.
order to move on and kind of the chaos from there. But it does treat it in a very comedic way. There's a lot of humor in this movie, which was a bit of a surprise considering, one, what the topic ends up being. I decided I wasn't going to spoil it because it's still in theaters. It's also apparently available on many streaming for purchase right now, which I didn't realize it was already there. Like you can get it on Apple TV, YouTube, Google Play already.
But like to rent.
To rent it. Yeah, so it would cost you money. But I thought they still gave movies a couple extra weeks before they did that. But I don't know, maybe.
It depends on who produced it, because
Yeah. This movie didn't come out that long ago.
if it was like an or is it A24?
A24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's still in theaters, so it's doing
well, it's doing well.
And yeah, it centers around really Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, their relationship. Can they move forward past this? I would describe this as a very well executed character drama that happens to lean into some interesting comedic moments, and really tells kind of a really interesting story. I quite liked the movie. I thought it was really well done. It was well crafted. I thought it was well written. I was a pretty big fan of how they kind of structured the movie. There's a couple moments where they kind of flashed back or gave us little moments that were almost unreliable. The unreliable narrator
Right.
thing of in someone's head you're thinking this, but then 2 seconds later you show us that's not it. So there were some, like, almost as an audience, twists and turns and kind of things that made it seem like, oh wait, are we going in this direction? And then we didn't. There's only one in the whole movie that didn't make sense and felt a little out of place, but the rest of it really worked for me. I thought the movie was very well acted. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, there's 1 or 2 scenes in particular where you have to rely on just the two of them to carry the particular scene or the moment, and they do it like just so well. Masters of their craft. But this movie, I think, is also well written, well directed. Everybody, I think, did their job well, and this is my kind of movie in a lot of ways, where you just kind of leave it going, yeah, that was really interesting. I laughed more than I thought. I thought it was pretty well done. They chose a really good topic to debate and discuss that I think would have,
Timely.
and would timely topic, but also I think would have most people going, yeah, what do I do in this situation?
Yeah,
Which was good.
cringe.
Which I think helped and definitely kind of moved things forward really well. So yeah, I thought the drama was quite good. I'm gonna give it a see it. Just I just think sometimes in my rating system, I want to reward movies for being excellent pieces of art, and that's what this is. It's so
Cool.
well crafted that I think, if you have a chance to see it, it's good. I don't think it's for the faint of heart either. But again, do a tiny bit of research, know what you're getting yourself into, sit back and enjoy what this movie really is, which I think it's a fascinating topic, and it's a fascinating dilemma that I think.
Do you think it's an early awards contender?
If it didn't come out in April, I would say
just like Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, just like Project Hail Mary, I'd say like if these would be examples of movies that I would say, like Zendaya and Robert Pattinson deserve award nominations for this movie. That's because it's an example of excellence in acting. So yeah, I would say so. But you know how the Academy works, Taylor. It's just not gonna.
Not to dredge up your emotions about Ryan Gosling, but just shocking. Robert Pattinson could have played Grace.
I agree. I like Robert Pattinson. Next week's episode, we're going to get a fan question from a fan who doesn't. But a little preview of that. Yeah, a little preview of that. We're going to have a debate on that. But yeah, also to go back to that for a second, Taylor, we got corrected with something we said on the show. We were saying that Chris Pine is too old. Chris Pine and Ryan Gosling are the same age.
Get out of town.
They are the exact same age. I had that texted to me.
Okay.
They're the same age.
This is not ageism, but Ryan Gosling has a youthfulness that Chris Pine does not. You know that movie, like what was that movie he directed and started maybe 2 years ago? And he like grew out his hair and grew out his beard and he was like gray. You cannot tell me that like a screenshot of that beside Ryan Gosling today, and you would tell me that they were the same age.
Yeah, I know exactly what movie you're talking about too, because I can see him. I can see them. But yeah, they're the same age. But yeah, Robert Pattinson's younger. He would have made an interesting Ryland Grace. I think he can pull off that kind of thing. Robert Pattinson to me is an example of a really solid actor. We have a
I love him.
Disagrees, but I think I've never seen. There's some movies I've seen he's been in that haven't been great, but I've never seen a performance out of him where I'm like, I don't believe it. Like
he always goes 110%, and whether you like or hate the performance, you cannot deny that he gives it his all.
That's right, and we're going to see him again in the Odyssey in a couple of months. So he's
in the new Dune movie.
He's in the new Dune movie as well. Yeah, everyone's.
And I think Zendaya is in all three of those movies.
Yeah, Zendaya's in everything as well.
Are we going to get
Austin
sick
Butler
of that?
was in everything. Was in the last Dune.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. Not when they're this good.
I know. There are movie stars.
Zendaya's performance in Challengers and the drama. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for. This is what. So. But there you go, Taylor. That's our movies for this week. As we mentioned, we're doing some fan question stuff in an upcoming episode, so we'll get to that soon. Many more interesting movies coming our way. Summer movie season just around the corner, so I'm getting pretty pumped for that. So we'll be checking out some more movies. Thanks again to everybody for listening this week.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Had Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.